pjnet.tv. It is the bottom of the hour, +2 on the East Coast, and Julie Lavender is our guest standing by in the green room. And our chat room is waiting. We've got the record button turned on. We're streaming and everything. So we will count it down to Studio 11. Well, good evening. Welcome. This is pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Prasick, and I sure am glad to be here. We are here because Julie Lavender was featured, and those of you in the pjnet.tv chat room just watched a 30-minute interview on focus in the family. And that through that interview, she was able to obtain this time on pjnet.tv because she is now a celebrity around the nation and around the world. And Julie, focus in the family has been so good to you and for you.
It was a marvelous experience. It still feels surreal. You know, we recorded it way back in October. So my husband and I, we went back out and we went there in October and recorded it. And I don't know if there's always that long of a lag or if it was just because of the holidays. But so it was a very long time. And then it aired, of course, last week. And they were just marvelous. They are a marvelous organization.
Well, as I was watching, of course, I'm looking at technical merit, you know, and listening to you too, by the way. But I must say that the two co-hosts did a great job of sharing the time, and kind of, you know, the more you got into that interview, the more relaxed you became.
I was so nervous at the beginning. I really was. In fact, when it aired, I watched about 30 seconds of it, and then I thought, I can't do this. So I listened to it after my prayer walk. Then I let myself listen to it, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch it because I could see how nervous I was. And I kept looking down. I had notes in front of me, but I really didn't have time to read them. But there was something comforting about looking down at the notes. Yeah. And so I was extremely nervous. So I did eventually watch it when my husband watched it live with me, or watched it live, or the broadcast. But yeah, I was super nervous.
Well, I noticed they had no less than 3 cameras. There may have been 4.
I think that's right. It felt like they were everywhere. But they did a great job of making me feel relaxed and making it conversational. So I didn't really feel like I was paying that much attention to the cameras. Maybe I was too nervous to pay attention to them, and I knew I needed to focus on the host. But I told my husband afterwards, and I know they do this to everybody, but they made me feel like I was the only guest they'd ever had on their show. Mm-hmm. They showed genuine interest in my life, my book. My husband was able to watch from a little side room there, whatever room they called it, had a little glass. And so before we even got started, they made sure they put him in on the mic, and they had conversations with him and asked him all about his life. They just showed genuine interest and concern for what I was doing for my book and for my the things I did with my children. So to me, that's a great host that is that passionate about every single person that comes on, because they do, I guess, 2 or 3 a day. I don't really know how many they film. And they do these all the time. So it was just, and everybody from the beginning, when I first checked in, even the receptionist, super kind, the gal who led me around, taking me from place to place, they were just amazing. I mean, just like I guess I don't even know what I expected, but because I think so much of that ministry, I probably should have expected that kind of care and concern, but it still surprised me.
Well, and when you have resources, you know, you can do that. Now, did they give you a trailer out back with a star on the door?
No. I got a special parking place because they were trying to tell me where to park because it's a pretty big campus. My husband and I toured it a long time ago on a vacation out there, but they tell you where to park. And there's like 2 or 3, it says VIP broadcast guest parking spot or something like that. So
Yeah.
that felt pretty special. And I took a picture of that. So I didn't get a trailer out back. No,
No, okay. The limousine didn't come pick you up at your hotel.
no,
and-
not
no.
at all.
You didn't have a limousine take you from the airport to the hotel. No.
No, but they treated me to lunch afterwards, my husband and I. So I thought that was extra special also.
I got the impression that both of them had actually read the book, and one of the things that I can't read every book for every program we have, but
Right.
I wonder if they have staff reading it, or do you think they read it?
I feel like they have staff that goes through and picks out the parts that they think maybe the audience will be interested in, I guess, or some of the highlights or whatever. But at the same time, I don't feel like the staff just handed them and said, okay, she said this here, she said this here. It felt like they had read the book, at least a portion of it. Maybe that staff person said, hey, read these pages in this chapter, read these pages in this chapter. I'm not really sure, but I did not feel, I felt like they were very prepared and interested and concerned, and I don't know how they do that.
They were prepared, and I agree. If they read the book, they can't do that for every interview they do. They just can't. There's not enough hours in a day.
There's no way.
But I will say this: they came across with warmth and most of all sincerity, and they became relational toward the end of the program. John was saying, "Oh, I got 6 kids," and it really makes it very personal and very conversational. Not just a ping pong match of question, answer,
Exactly.
question, answer. And those, I guess those have their place in other contexts. But when we're talking about, our walk with Christ, I think we need to be more relational. But did they give you your own makeup artist, or do you have to do your own makeup and hair?
You know what? That was fun because they had told me originally, I certainly didn't ask, but they told me before to just come ready, makeup and everything. And so, but then about maybe just a couple of weeks beforehand, they said, we're starting before. And it's not like I got the impression that they stopped because of COVID or anything like that. But I got the impression that they used to do that. And they said, we're starting with makeup again. And so come with your whatever, how you would normally do it. But then I got to have a makeup artist and a hair person do me. So that made me feel even more special, and even the person who was doing my makeup, she seemed just as genuinely interested in my life the whole time she was doing my makeup. Mm-hmm. And she's not a focus on the family person. She's just a contract person they had come in. Okay. So, maybe I was just floating because I just was excited to be there, but she genuinely seemed interested in my life as well. So that was kind of fun too.
Yeah. Well, I really admire the job they did. And I tell you, it's just amazing. Now, one trick I saw them pull is that toward the end, they made a little pitch saying, hey, if you'll send some support in any amount, we'll send you one of Julie's books. So that's pretty clever. They get you to carry the freight to say thank you for the donation to them.
Well, and I think they do that, with every guest. So I thought that was pretty awesome because, they really do say any amount at all. Right. And I think that's kind of cool because then they carry my book in their store, and I don't have any idea how many people donated, but that, to give them a book. So now, to me, that was super special as well. I thought that was really, really a big deal.
When exactly did this air?
Last Thursday. I think that was January 6th.
Okay. So, it's got, I think I saw Barbara put in the chat room, it's got on YouTube right now, the YouTube version of it, 5,462 views.
Wow.
Julie, that's gold. That is golden. That is.
It really is. And it still feels so unbelievable to me. I have not stopped praising the Lord because I didn't do any. My Revell marketing person is the one that arranged this. I had nothing to do with it. And I remember when she first told me about it way back last spring, she said there was a possibility, but she said there had to be a pre-interview. Mm-hmm. And so I did that and talked with someone on Focus on the Family, and we recorded it, but as if it were an interview. And it was so funny. I may have told you this before, but it was so funny because she said, now I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And some of it I could tell was I've still got to vet you, but I still need to check on this, and I've got to clear this. And so she said, so it might be a couple of weeks before you hear from me. So don't worry, you don't hear anything. But I think this will resonate with our audience. Well, gosh, that might have been April, maybe late March or April. I didn't hear back from them again until August. I think it was late July or August.
That's a long 2 weeks.
I remember I'd kind of forgotten about it, actually. Because I didn't let myself get my hopes up too much. And so I told my husband, I said, David, I said, either I talked too much or I didn't talk enough. I don't know which one I did, but I said I failed miserably. So then when my Revell marketing person sent me the email, she had as many exclamation marks as I usually use when I get excited about something in the email. And she said they want to do an interview. And the funny thing was, in my mind, I was already thinking, okay, I got to set this up. When can I do a phone interview with them? Let me think about my schedule, whatever. And I kept reading the email, and it said they will pay for one night in the hotel and they'll take you to lunch. And I was like, oh my goodness, they mean I'm supposed to come out there. So even that, and it just kept going from surreal to surreal. But I'm so grateful to my Revell editors, my Revell family. I'm so grateful to Kyle, my agent, because none of it would have happened if I hadn't have had representation. So I just saw God put all of the pieces together, and I love when he does that. And so I'm still so humbled and still in such awe of this that I can't believe it happened. And I just have not stopped praising him. Sometimes I'm praising him just with big smiles and just plain giddy. And then other times I'm just weeping because I'm like, God, I can't believe you did this for me. And it's been so fantastic.
Well, the good news does not end there, because I see on Facebook that your children's book that has just released has catapulted its way up the charts.
Well, it has. However, it's so funny to me. I mean, I love all of Amazon's categories, and I'm so appreciative and I'm so grateful. But, that's part of their marketing ploy as well. You have a whole bunch of categories. Mm-hmm. Lots of books are going to make it to the top or near the top, and then you're going to share about it. So I get all that. I do get that. And in fact, I told my husband one time, because sometimes I read these categories, I told my husband, I said, I bet there's a category that says best new picture book of three-legged turtles. I think there's a category just for that,
If not, they'll make one.
But they're just so specific about it. So, but I'm very appreciative of it. But when I saw that, number one, I hadn't looked since early this morning. And the only reason I looked this morning is because I was sharing the link with a friend. But then I went back to try to take a little bit clearer picture because I was so excited the first time. I didn't get a very clear picture. Well, I'm down to number 3. So I understand that Amazon numbers are so fickle. I'm very appreciative of that, number 1, but I've jumped down 2 spots. So.
Oh my gosh, you wonderful. Have fallen from glory. Yeah. Oh, but, you better repent. There must be something in your life that needs repentance. But those categories remind me. I was on a cruise one time, and there was a talent show that of the passengers, and of course everybody that participated in the show got a trophy. And I remember this one guy, he got. You get first place in, love songs performed solo in a tuxedo with fog effects. They'll just make up a category so you can be number 1. So.
That's exactly right. But I am very appreciative. I don't mean to make light of it whatsoever, but I'm so grateful and just so excited about it. That was a super special project to me, this Children's Bible Stories for Bedtime, because, I have such a heart for children, and to be able, every time I think about or picture, these little children snuggled up with an adult, reading these stories before they go to bed, I just can get weepy thinking about that too. So it's just such an incredible blessing. It was a fun project. It was great fun for me to work on. And my daughter is already sending me pictures of my 3-year-old grandson, and the two of them are reading the stories together. So it just warms my heart so much. And the fact that, it made it to the number 1 new release in whatever category, I forgot the category. It's still a very special category to me. But to me, I just see little bodies. I don't count it as numbers as far as success. That's a hard thing to say because it's success in God's eyes. But I see that as little bodies with their mamas and their daddies or their grandparents or their caregivers or whatever, reading these Bible stories. So even the thing with the however many views on YouTube, to me, what that does for me is that many people heard me talk about God. There's a part of me that doesn't care if they even heard some of the other stuff as long as they kept hearing me mention God. So it's just this amazing opportunity God has given me, and I can't seem to get up. But even the fact of when the Focus on the Family released compared to my new book releasing, that was such a God thing right there, because filming it way back in October, but yet it just happened to release 4 days before my book released. And you know how that is when if you maybe hear somebody on the radio and you want to go check on them, if you're going to Google their name, well, then my Bible story book probably came up as well when they Googled my name.
It might very well.
So it had to have boosted those numbers for that reason too, and the fact that God fixed it so that, that was going to air close to the release of the book. So I'm just in such awe of him right now that I'm just singing his praises.
Well, I don't know how long it'll last, Julie, but the good and the bad news is that whether we're very happy, very sad, or very whatever, it doesn't last forever. So when do you think you'll come back down off this cloud you're floating on?
Well, I don't know, but I know to be careful about that, because that can so easily happen, and I don't take any of it for granted. I don't take any of it lightly. 1 month before my 365 Ways book released is when I lost my 47-year-old brother. He passed away. So that was such a roller coaster, to lose my brother 1 month, and then I'm supposed to be launching this book and be super excited about that, and try to just, be up there on cloud 9 about my book releasing. So I do recognize that that life is fragile, and I don't want to come across at all that I feel like, well, look at me, I'm a number 1, because I want it to be, look what God did, and I'm just going to keep walking the path that he leads me on. And, if I stumble and fall tomorrow, he's still going to pull me up. He's still going to be there with me. And I'll just, climb up with my skinned knee and just keep on going and keep singing his praises. But
well, Julie, you realize that you've made it very hard for yourself, whatever you're going to do next.
Well, and I don't even know what that project is just yet. I've got a few ideas, and of course, Kyle has some manuscripts he's shopping around for me. So, yeah, I don't even have anything on the front burner right now. I've got a lot of things on the back burner. I'll just have to try to move those up to the front somehow. My daughter got married in December 18th. And so I told her I thought she was just trying to see if she could just destroy her mother, because I said, who does that a week before Christmas? But she's in grad school. He's a year behind her. He was graduating from undergrad. So both of them were that was like the only time they could get married without having to, well, she wanted a winter wedding. So that was the best time to fit it in between semesters. So I'll tell you, it was so stressful getting her married that, right. And she did most of the work, but weddings are just stressful anyway. So it took a little bit to get all that off my plate. And so now I feel like I can think again. But I feel like for the last 10 or 11 months, all we've been doing is working on wedding. So I do have to see where God's going to lead me next.
So how's your husband taking all this?
Well, he just kept seeing the dollar signs, because he was laughing. He put her on a budget, and she did a great job staying in that budget. And so he's doing okay now. She's the baby. I have 2 boys, and then it's boy, girl. So my 2 girls happen to be married and the boys aren't. So it's kind of hard to let your baby girl get married and move away. She's in Raleigh in grad school. Now, she'd already been there for a semester, so it wasn't like she just moved away after she got married. But but both girls married godly men. So, we can't, we're just so thankful about that we can't complain at all about that. So,
Well, maybe you can write an empty nester book now that.
well, I think I'd be pretty good about that because unfortunately I'm really struggling with that. So
Yeah.
that would, if I put I'd be embarrassed to put my whole heart into it. But if I did, that would have to be a #1 bestseller because I'm telling you, I've struggled with the empty nest. I really have. That's been tough for me. Being a homeschool mom, having them with me all the time, and the university where all 4 of them went is just 10 minutes across town. So even though they didn't live at home, they were just around a lot. So I've struggled with that, but that's all part of life. That's what we want for them, but that doesn't make it any easier.
I get it. Well, Julie, you've always been the PJNet #1 peach from the peach state of Georgia. But I got word just recently that the Georgia Bulldogs are the national championships. Does that mean anything to you?
It means more to my husband than me. Now, so many of my family, much of my family, I guess 2 brothers, like sisters-in-laws, my father-in-law. I have a lot of people that graduate from Georgia. So, and my husband just loves the Bulldogs. So I'm not a real football person, but you know what? To watch that excitement, and I can just root for the underdog. And they thought Alabama was going to win, so I was rooting for Georgia. And actually, I have a niece still in school right there right now. She graduates in May. So yes, we were pretty excited over here.
I think you have a lot to be excited about, Julie, and we're excited for you. You have been such a wonderful part of our journey here at PJNet.TV, whether it be on occasions like these where you plan to be here. Then, of course, there's the occasion that you get that afternoon text from Michelle.
From Michelle, that's right. Well, and she's at that conference now down in Orlando, so. I know that she's busy. I'm surprised that I don't know how she does what she does. My goodness, she fits in so much in her days. But I do enjoy it. And I just remember back at that North Carolina conference when I first met you. Mm-hmm. And I've just watched your ministry grow, and it's just been amazing what God has done. And it's so much fun to watch your journey and watch how you help other authors and you help other speakers, and you just bless us so much with what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Julie. I was just reflecting, I believe it was yesterday with Barbara, that, that conference pretty much began the journey for PJNet, and we were hurting at the time. We had come from some very, very high places in politics and Twitter and all that, but we had pretty well had the rug pulled out from under us, and you all just took us in, and it began a new journey. It was not a detour. It was really something that God has opened so many doors. But then the COVID thing kind of messed us up, because those conferences were kind of the bread and butter of how we got to meet new people.
Right.
But Julie, I can remember when we had 2 programs per week, and we still struggled to get people. And we've had literally hundreds of guests, individual unique guests, and we are planning to get PJNet back on the road. Even if there is no conference, we're making plans. I mean, I've been up all night. I need some coffee. I've been up all night the past 3 nights studying how can we, what gear do we need to get? But we're just literally going to have seminars, 1-day seminars, that people that are in the areas that so many of PJNet's family is, they can drive there, attend the seminar, and drive home.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that sounds great.
Now, it might be a long day, depending on where you live and where we have it, but the idea is not to incur the expenses of hotel rooms and all that kind of stuff, because that when you go to a conference, you've got the cost of the conference, but then you've got the cost of hotel rooms, travel, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, here, let's just take it to where the people are. And I'm just really, really, I'm kind of like you are right now. You know how you just get beside yourself, and it's overwhelming sometimes. You know, let me ask you a question. I'm so amped up. You know what I'm talking about? Just everything's just. But I sit down to do my devotional. It's hard. It's hard.
Because your mind is, if it's like mine, it's just going all over the place.
I'm not doing well with this. I'm not doing well with this.
I do best with my prayer time walking, for that very reason, because I don't do as well. My front porch swing is I love to do my prayer time a lot of times, but sometimes sitting still like that, I feel like I get more distracted. So I have gotten to where I do my prayer time when I'm walking.
Oh,
Something about being able to get that adrenaline going and the energy then just helps me stay focused on my prayers. And it's so funny because the street where I walk is not super busy, but a lot of times I'll have my phone in my hand because for the cars that do come by, I want them to think I'm just talking on the phone, not that I'm crazy and talking to myself. I don't know that they would think about the fact that maybe I was praying out loud, but so sometimes then when I come back from there, a lot of times then I'm tired enough from that I can sit still long enough to do my devotion. But I know what you mean is, unfortunately, these days we have so much on our minds and on our plates that it's hard to do what God tells us to do, to be still.
and
That's hard for us.
what I'm the most ashamed of is when I'm writing a complicated program that requires 100%. I mean, it requires more than 100% of your attention. Julie, I can concentrate for hours. But just trying to talk to God, I mean, boy, just 30 seconds later, you're thinking about the things of this world. Now, the things of this world, in many cases for me, are ministry. But it's still, it's compromising that intimacy, that abiding time with God that is the source of our strength. I mean, we can't do our jobs without it.
That's right. We can't do our jobs without it. That's right. That's right. And I don't have wonderful answers for that, but I know that it's necessary. I always want to hope that God understands. That doesn't give me a license not to do it, though, or an excuse. But I hope that He understands. I know that I still get distracted during my prayer time, and I'll even tell Him that. I said, I'm sorry, I chased that rabbit. Lord, I'm coming back over here now. But I think if we just keep plugging along, I let ourselves give up because I'm not doing a good job of. And who knows? Maybe that's the enemy making us feel like we're not doing a good job of it as well, just to make it worse.
Well, I don't have the answers, Julie. I really don't, because I'm struggling with it. But folks, I know this. My desire is to do the right thing. And God sees our heart, and,
right. That's right.
But when you're doing your devotional and you hear that little chime, that you just got an email or whatever, and it's just, oh boy. And well, all right. Well, Julie, you're the peach from Georgia. Georgia has two number ones now, the Bulldogs and yourself. And, I know that you are happy. We're just happy for you, Julie, and it's just a blessing.
I'm thrilled. I'm so thankful to other people. My friends are so wonderful, and they're so supportive and so encouraging. It's just amazing how encouraging so many people are. Fellow writers are just the best. They just are so encouraging, and I just love it. And I'm just giving God all the glory and just ask Him where He wants me to go next. That's the best thing to do.
Thanks for taking, I feel quite honored, that we can have a number one Amazon best-selling author interviewed on Focus but you've never gotten too important to remember all of
and
this.
And I never will. I never will, because I get it. I know it's all God. It's all God.
And that doesn't surprise me that you would say that, Julie, but you are correct. But thanks for sharing with us, and congratulations.
Thank you very much for having me. I've had a great time.
All right. Thank you, Julie. All right. Julie Lavender, brought to you from the Lavender Studio. That would be Studio 11. We seldom use it, but, I thought, how can we have Julie Lavender without a Lavender Studio? Okay. Well, what I'm thinking is that I have work to do tonight, and I can't wait. I know I've been kind of stringing you all along, saying we're going to be telling you some stuff, but I'm going to keep stringing you along because it's true. There are a couple of things going on. I think that God's favor is just about ready to reach that overflow, where we all get wet, from it. So, before I leave, whatever your situation, maybe you're not getting the trophies, maybe you're not getting the spotlight, maybe you don't even want it, but yet you're just missing that affirmation. Well, folks, I can tell you from what we've heard from Julie tonight and things in my own life that we are called to be ambassadors for the kingdom of Christ. And I think as long as we remain obedient in discharging those duties, I think that God will take care of us. But I also believe that being an ambassador for Christ has some implicit risks. So we're going to have to be bold. And I ask myself these two questions, and I'll share them with you. What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And how long ago was that? My desire is that I would never be satisfied with either answer.